Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and a energy healer. And I'm going to continue with my reading and discussion about the Kybalion today. But I'm going to go back to page 16 for a moment and just look at the principle of correspondence, which I read last week. And just discuss a little bit more about it. That seems to be how this is going. I will read the principle myself and not have too much to say about it. Then I'll read it to you all and then have a little bit to say about it. And then after I've read it, I get a lot of information. So I'm going to read that, and then I'm going to read the principle of vibration. In addition, one of the groups that I'm involved with, someone told me that the Kybalion is not hermetic, that it actually is new thought. So I looked into, I read through the Corpus Hermeticum a little bit. But the Emerald Tablets is where it seems to have come from. Now, the Emerald Tablets were translated by different people, and others claim that there was no way to translate them, but I did read like 5 or 6 different translations of the Emerald Tablets this week, or I should say I skimmed through it because I didn't read the whole thing. But and that is where the Kybalion is coming from, is the Emerald Tablets interpretation or translation by the various authors, which you can find online. That's some of these free ways to get books, websites, like the main one that I'll say right now is called annasarchive.org, and that is a way that site mirrors all the other book sites where you can download PDFs of old books, and then you can look for yourself. Don't just listen to me. You can look for yourself. And you can also get the Corpus Hermeticum there and read through that if you like. It's very interesting. So the principle of correspondence is, this is just the brief overview of the principles, and they're going to go into them more in depth as we go on. But I think it's important to just get a hold of it right now. And especially if you're meditating, you're probably getting information from the ether now as well. So it says, the principle, and I'm going to start in the middle of the paragraph because I don't want to read the whole thing. This principle is of universal application and manifestation on the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is an universal law. The ancient Hermetists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view the unknown. And the reason for that is because this is a fractal universe. This has been proven in quantum physics, and through fractals, that I can look at what's in my hand to see what's in my future. Whatever's happening right now is what's going to be happening if I don't make some kind of change. So I did come up with a few things, like, for example, my house is disorganized because my mind is disorganized. So what can I do about it with that? I can try to organize my mind through meditation and concentration exercises and other brain enhancing formulas. There's a lot of brain enhancing formulas out there that might help. Like if I take lecithin, or if I eat shellfish, or the mushrooms, like maca and other mushroom. I don't think maca is a mushroom, but maybe it is. Other brain enhancing formulas, then I might be able to slow down enough to be able to organize my house. You know, there's a lot of women who talk about all those unavailable men out there. Well, that's because we are unavailable. I can say this for myself. It wasn't until I was plagued by the unavailable man syndrome for many years. And this was because I was unavailable emotionally. I hadn't done my shadow work yet. So until I did that work, I attract into my life the people that are mirrors for me. That's basically what this is talking about. I live under tyranny because I want to be told what to do. I don't personally anymore want that, but I have in the past preferred to be told what to do so that I can say, screw you in my mind and go do what I want. And then blame you when it doesn't work out. One way or the other. I always get to blame you and I don't have to take responsibility for myself. And that's why we are in a tyranny right now, because that is the majority of people have been schooled into believing or not learning how to think for themselves using critical thinking, and have not developed the courage to take responsibility for their own behaviors and choices. And so we would much rather be in a tyranny where, I mean, just look at it's a great example of this is when one of the lights goes out, a stoplight goes out and is flashing. I mean, people just go crazy over that. But there's an old way to get through a stoplight that I don't know if it's still being taught. When I learned how to drive, the person who arrives at the stoplight or stop sign has the right of way. And if someone to the right of me arrives with me at the exact same time, the person on the right of me has the right of way. And that's how to be present and self-reliant, is to practice not having stoplights. Really, I mean, I've seen this before. It's quite interesting. If a stoplight goes out in a busy intersection, people just flip out because they don't know how to think for themselves and get through the light safely. And then, of course, there's the one renegade person who's not paying attention, who just goes blasting through the light at 80 miles an hour. That's the person, that we have laws. That's the reason we have these stupid laws in place, is because of that one person who isn't paying attention and just goes barreling through the light. So it's always one person who makes it bad for everybody else. And that's another weird principle that needs to be reevaluated in our world. But I digress. If my mind is filled with unruly negative thoughts, my body will be riddled with dis-ease. A diseased mind equals a diseased body. And I know this from my energy healing work. Okay, so those are some examples of how to use the principle of correspondence one-on-one, but you can also use it interdimensionally as well. And we'll get into that more when we get further on down the road into this book. Okay, the principle of vibration. So I'm on page 17 now. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion. everything vibrates. Nothing is at rest. Facts which modern science endorses and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet this Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. This principle explains that the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from varying rates of vibration. From the all, which is pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter, all is in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The vibration of spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is practically at rest. Just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless, and at the other end of the scale there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so slow as to seem at rest. Between these poles there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration. From corpuscle and electron, atom and molecule, to worlds and universes, everything is in vibratory motion. This is true on the planes of energy and force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and also on the mental planes, whose states depend upon vibrations, and even on the spiritual planes. An understanding of this principle with the appropriate formulas enables Hermetic students to control their own mental vibrations as well as those of others. You could practice this, be in the middle of an argument and force yourself to turn inward, close your eyes, and start breathing deeply into your belly and watch to see what happens in the room. The masters also apply this principle to the conquering of natural phenomena in various ways. He who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power, says one of the old writers. So that's, Nikola Tesla's work was all based on vibration. In fact, he invented the scalar generator and went downtown to Lower Manhattan when he was in the early 1900s to try it out. And he was able to actually vibrate a building down there. You can read about that. I do have an experience about this, a personal experience about this law of vibration, which I haven't fully, I don't fully know how it all worked, honestly, but I was at a show with a friend of mine and it was sold out. And I had a ticket. I'd gotten a ticket from a friend of ours, and my other friend that I was with still needed a ticket. And he was getting ready to leave. He was going to just go home. He was going to give up. So we decided to pray together one more time in front of the box office just to see what would happen. And we were both totally surrendered. But somehow vibrationally, when we stood together in that state of surrender and just asked if he could have a ticket, if it was God's will for him to have a ticket, we'd completely given up. We had scoured the entire parking lot, talked to millions of different people about getting a ticket, and we couldn't find a ticket. So this was one last effort to get a ticket for him. So we stood together and prayed. And then he went over to the box office, and the lady in the box office goes, "Oh, how weird. There's this ticket in the machine. I didn't see it." And she pulls it out of the machine and sells it to him. And then we went, to get it scanned. So this was maybe this was about 10 years ago now. And to go into the show, and the guy that scanned the ticket said, "Oh, this ticket isn't entered into the system. We'll have to take you into the office and enter these numbers into the system." to me, that was manifestation. We lowered our vibration. We were in a state of surrender. We had no agenda except an open mind and willingness, and we manifested that ticket. How did that happen? I can't tell you, but I do know it's possible to do, and especially if two or more are gathered, you see. I guess it was the will of God for us to get in. Now, of course, later on, we're going to read in the law of cause and effect that miracles like that can be explained through cause and effect, but I personally don't care about that. I'm not going to get into how this all happens. I'm fine with it being a mystery and being in awe of the mystery. What I do know, though, is that both people have to be fully surrendered and in awe of the universe for it to really work. So let me see if there's anything else I have on the law of vibration for today. One last thing I can say about vibration is, like, I came from extreme negativity, and I used a few things. First, I used the 7-Day Mental Diet by Emmett Fox, which I'll put in the description, to change my habitual negative thinking. And then I've used many other mantras simply by writing them on an index card and repeating them over and over, and singing them and feeling them in my heart chakra can change my vibration. And also chakra hygiene, where as part of my chakra hygiene, I can imagine the light of God or the cosmic energy to come into my auric field and fill out my entire auric field with light. These are a few different techniques that one can use to raise your frequency, including also you can chant Om over and over. That's really excellent for raising your frequency. And so song, like singing your intention, coming up with a positive statement of intention for yourself and then singing it, as well as making visual symbols. These are all things you could practice right now, as we're in the beginning stages of making use of these principles.